It is 30 minutes past the hour. Political temperatures in the country getting higher as the ODM primaries kick off on the second phase in Kakamega, Narok, Turkana and Samburu counties at this hour. We'd like to put our focus in Narok County as these primaries unfold. Let's take a look at what is at stake in Narok County. And for the senatorial aspirants, we have two contenders here, Tom Sirare Maitai and Ledama Olekina. These will be battling it out for the senatorial seat under the Jubilee ticket. A very tight race there in Narok County, this being the highest stake considering that the ODM, the gubernatorial aspirant rather, who is Joseph Tiampati Ole Musuni, is going at it unopposed after also getting a direct nomination ticket. And the constituencies there in Narok County, we have Narok North constituency, Narok West constituency, as well as Kilgoris constituency. And Narok North constituency there has Richard Moitelel Olekenta, who is going at it alone there, unopposed once again. And that is Narok North constituency. And moving on to Narok East constituency now, where we have Alfred Mumpasoi Keriolale. He is going at it for the ODM ticket in Narok East constituency. And last but not least, we have Narok West constituency, where we have Jimmy Parnyumbe Luka, who is also going for that seat under the ODM ticket. And looking at Kilgoris constituency here, we have Morintat Peter Oibo, we also have Joseph Siparo and Elijah Kanyamal Sikona. Three contenders here battling it out in Kilgoris constituency under the ODM ticket, of course, this being the position of Member of Parliament. We also have Chris Thairu is live for us in Narok County. We will be talking to him a bit later on. Earlier on, the nomination process had already begun and voting rather had already begun, but we will have in-depth analysis here in studio with our guest, what really is at stake. So just to introduce my panel this morning, we have Ochwacho Francis. Many thanks for joining us on News Center. We also have Brian Mutie, as well as Evans Oluoch. Many thanks for joining us on KTN News Center. So the battle for Narok County, seemingly a very tight race, especially for the gubernatorial position. Let's focus on that. Probably begin with you, Evans. The direct nomination ticket handed to the governor there. Your thoughts on that?
Okay. Personally, I think ODM was not very fair to give people direct tickets. They should have at least given each and every person an opportunity to go and run and contest for their seat, because we are not sure if that person who has been given the ticket, if he's going to win, because there's going to be a stiff competition between Jubilee and ODM. So it is something that ODM should have thought about it, and I hope that maybe they're not going to put another aspirant of NASA, maybe somebody from Wiper or somebody from ANC.
Right.
So there is something that they need to think about and tread very carefully, because we are going to have a very stiff competition when it comes to Jubilee, the competition than ODM. Yeah.
Right. So we have Joseph Tiampati, who was handed the direct ticket for ODM, but there's also a lot of controversy with the Chama cha Mashinani candidate, who was also supposed to either go for under the Jubilee ticket or under the ODM ticket. Then he finally settled for the Chama cha Mashinani ticket. Brian, it's going to be a very tight race.
Yeah, sure.
Jubilee, ODM, Chama cha Mashinani.
Exactly. With the entry of actually Chama cha Mashinani, Michelle, it has really complicated the equation in Narok. And it will be a very exciting space for us to watch as political analysts, in the sense that it has brought new dimensions. First of all, ODM complicating matters by, first of all, creating their own so-called own apathy by, first of all, handing over that direct nomination to the ODM candidate. And that has actually not gone down well with the residents there, who feel that they ought to have been given a variety of candidates to perhaps choose from, whom they would feel that would be better to to face the juggernaut of the incumbent Tunai, who I'm sure with all that kind of machinery, with all the incumbency that he enjoys, it will not be easy for anybody to dislodge him from power. And therefore, the entry of the Mashinani candidate has also brought a new dimension, a new twist to the whole equation, because Narok has always been historically an ODM zone. And therefore, we are going to see some votes going to Mashinani because of the kind of charm offense that Isaac Ruto has actually brought onto the fold. And this actually is a new space for us to watch, because it's going to be a very close one for us to say that we can, at the moment, say that it's going to go to a certain side. Yes.
Francis, talking about the twist that Chama cha Mashinani brings in, Governor Ruto, of course, being the charm offensive that Brian is talking about, how is this likely to shift the equation in Narok County?
Yeah, I tend to agree with what Brian is saying, that with the entry of Chama cha Mashinani, is actually complicating the matrix for Jubilee. And as we look at it keenly, we will realize that that particular county is going to be stiffly contested amongst the two major political parties. And with the entry of CCM also complicating the matrix for Jubilee, because the incumbent is a Jubilee. The gubernatorial seat is being held by Jubilee. And when we try to interrogate further, you will find that ODM is also trying to have its grip on that particular county. So what we are set to see is actually a stiff competition from the three major players. That is CCM, Jubilee, and ODM.
Now, that being said, of course, primaries have just started, ODM being the first one. And Evans, I'm sure you followed the ODM primaries since they kicked off in Busia, as well as Bungoma. And in Narok County, there really doesn't seem to be so much at stake in terms of, say, youth being violent, in terms of delay in the whole process, the ballot papers arriving. But what are your thoughts on the Jubilee primaries as a whole? There's been a lot of allegations, or feelings rather, that the shambolic manner in which they began is really going to taint the image of ODM. Okay,
from the word go, I really thought that when first Jubilee was talking about giving opportunity to IBC to run the nominations, that will be a very fair thing for even the ODM to do it. Because so far, I've not seen if ODM is really capable of running the nominations, because they will never be free and fair, because of the violence, because of the rowdy youths, because of the aspirants who really signed the code of conduct, but in the real sense, they're not following the issue of having peace in their nominations. So I just believe that in Narok, there's not a lot of tension, because most of the people there, they don't have leaders who are violent. But now when it comes to Nairobi, when it comes to Kisumu, when it comes to Machakos, it's a hotspot of violence.
Right, and I'm glad you brought the issues of they do not have leaders who are violent. Brian, let's take that.
I don't think it's a matter of leaders who are violent, because that's debatable. And I want to say that Narok is a cosmopolitan sort of zone, with Kikuyus there, Masa is there, also Kalenjins, a good number of other tribes coming also to do business in Narok, and therefore the dynamics are different compared to what is we saw in Busia, in the sense that that being an homogeneous sort of community, although there was some small disparity of the Tesos existing there and the Luyas, but that does not make the whole scenario that much different, in the sense that when you look at Narok, the residents at least have a wider range of choices to choose from, and that does not restrict them or constrict them through a small political narrow path, as opposed to what we saw in Busia, where there was only ODM, and that being the party of the land, it gives the community the only option that they have to guarantee a candidate to go to parliament. In Narok, at least you have Chama cha Mashinani, Jubilee is there, ODM is there, and there are other small parties that are existing also, which gives the communities that kind of wide range of choices to choose from. And therefore, that demystifies the issues of violence, because why would we fight on for a small portion when we have a wide range of choices to choose from? And therefore, the dynamics really do change within that kind of arrangement.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the Chama cha Mashinani candidate in Narok County. Now, like I mentioned, he was initially meant to run on a Jubilee ticket, and then we had word he was going to run on an ODM ticket, and then now finally running on a CCM ticket. Francis, these political parties have been described as special purpose vehicles. There's allegation that politicians are not in them for the ideals that these parties stand for, but just to further their own personal interests. Him jumping from one party to another in the span of a few months, does that really cement his chances of getting this position?
Yeah, it does to some level, because if we look at the Kenyan politics, it revolves around ethnicity. And for him to have hopped from one place to another, he must have realized that perhaps he's in the wrong place. And that's why he decided to move to a place that is
wrong
so
place in terms of what the party holds for Kenyans, or wrong place in what his chances are for clinching that position?
I do agree that it's not about being in the wrong place, but in the right place, which actually would catapult his interest into the house that he wants to be in. And I want to say that is not exceptional to the whole arrangement, in the sense that Chirao and Makwere also, did the same thing. He jumped from ODM, tomorrow he was in, I don't know, from Jubilee, went to ODM, then the following day he was in Wiper. And therefore, it is a representative, both of them are representative of the bigger picture of what the politics of this country entails. It's about coalescing within, along ethnicity and also the personalities that, drive the major political parties in this country. For instance, if I would challenge somebody to go in Nyeri and vie for a political seat on an ODM ticket, to him it's like committing that political suicide. Likewise, going to Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, and vying through a Jubilee ticket, it will be a hard sell there. And therefore, it's about the ethnicity nature of politics in this country, not ideologies whatsoever, not anything to do with the manifestos. And if you ask most of these fellas who are vying for these seats, they will not tell you anything that their manifestos stand for or whatever ideology their party stands for. But because of the ethnicized nature of politics in this country, that's why you see them flip-flopping from one party to the other, just to ensure that their interests are taken care of by the time we got for the election.
Absolutely. Now, let's focus again on what happened in Busia, because there was an incident in Teso South and Teso North constituency where the total number of votes cast were actually more than the total number of registered voters in those regions. Now, we've had several political stakeholders come out and call for an audit of the voters' register events. Is this a clear indication that this must be done?
Okay, well, the IBC did wrong when the parliament passed the rule of the law that you have to be a member of a political party to participate in the election, the nominations of the candidates. It's really wrong, because these people are not going to be given opportunity to choose their leaders, the one that they want to go to the general election. So, if I may say, I think ODM and other political parties, they could have just said that as long as you are a registered member of that constituency or that ward, you should be allowed to go and participate and choose the leader that you want. Because that's why you see that the tallying numbers, you find that the registered members of a political party maybe are 3,000, but the people who voted are 10,000. So it means that they have really gone against the law.
Right.
Yeah? So that is a problem. That's what the problem is. Because those people who are registered as political party members went and vote, but because the number was very few, they decided to bring other people from the community who are not party members to come and vote. And I think that is a law that should be changed, whereby each and every person should be given an opportunity so they can go and elect the leaders that they want to go for general election.
Brian does not agree with that.
That would be shambolic. I want to disagree with my good friend here, Evans. When you open that open door policy for everybody
in Busia, it's just the beginning. we are yet to see more
Right.
as ODM progresses on in other strongholds where they enjoy a lot of following. And I want to say that the Director of Elections Board in ODM did a good thing to nullify the elections, because how could one person...
Even following that, the ODM disciplinary committee has been put on the spot. First of all, for the spate of violence that we have seen, but also for the issue that happened in Busia, because at some point we even had a gun drama just
Sure.
before the results were read out. We had supporters of the different candidates come out in arms, almost becoming violent. There's been really skepticism as to whether the ODM disciplinary committee has the capacity to prevent or put this under control, the primaries.
Okay, and to make sure there is law and order. But what has happened, they are the ones who are causing all this violence. We can blame the ODM election board, but in the real sense, in the ground, the aspirants are the ones who are creating all this violence. They are the ones who are inciting the youths. They are the ones who are bringing those issues. But on the other hand, when you talk about the ODM nomination, I still don't think if the party members are the only ones who are going to vote for the election. I still don't think.
All right.
And you'll end up having many court cases because most of the people are still going to participate in not only ODM, even in Jubilee.
Right.
Yes.
And that is likely we are to see that. Brian, just before you chip in, let's speak to Duncan Hayemba, who is in Shinyalu constituency, Kakamega County, where the ODM primary is also taking place. Hayemba, when we spoke earlier, the voting had not